Let me apologize for the inconvenience. I want to encourage all of our viewers to share this broadcast with someone else. If it has helped you, if it is helping you, then you share it with some of your contacts and let them tune in to see how to deal with every one of life's enigmas. I thank God for the life of Solomon. I thank God for all of his writings, the writings that he does in Proverbs, the writing that he does in Songs of Solomon, but more so the writings he does in Ecclesiastes. For when you look at the bio of Solomon, he does not try to hide any of the facts about his life. His life literally is an open book for all of us. It gives us some encouragement as we travel with God through this life. Solomon shares with us both the good and the bad. That's unusual because most people who are sitting on top of the world, who is at the head of their class, they only share with you the good things. But I love Solomon because he shares with us the good and the bad. He allows us to look into his life and really see a picture of our own lives. When you look at Solomon, Solomon shares his feelings about life, and they weren't always the best of feelings. Matter of fact, in Ecclesiastes chapter 2, he says that life to him was meaningless. With all of his accomplishments, with all of his achievements, with everything he had done, with all of the pats on his back, with all of the accolades, with all of the goodness people were saying about him, he felt like his life was meaningless. He really felt like people were only being courteous to him when they called him king, when they called him preacher, when they called him teacher, because he felt like his whole life was meaningless. He also goes on to say that he felt like his life was empty. He felt like his life literally served no purpose at all. How many people in the world today feel like their life is completely empty, that their life serves no purpose at all? They can't see where their life is making a difference in anybody's life. Solomon said, I looked around, I looked in my house, I looked in my kingdom, I looked at my friends, I looked at everybody, and it looked like my life was empty because it tended to look like it did not serve a purpose at all. He says that not only did I look at life and life looked meaningless and life looked empty, he said, but I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. The more I do, seem like the less I get done. Looks like all I'm doing is spinning my wheels. He says, I'm not getting anywhere at all in life. Is there anyone who really believes that they are not getting anywhere in life? You're doing all that you believe you should be doing, but yet you feel like you are not getting anywhere in life. Solomon had that problem. He says, life for me is meaningless. Life for me is empty. Life for me is frustrated. He said, but really, life for me is miserable. You would think that a man who has everything going for him would have a life that was enjoyable. But Solomon said that his life was miserable. Everything that he did to make himself happy, it all fell by the wayside. He said, I built houses. Oh, Lord, not one house, not two houses, but I built houses. And yet my houses couldn't bring me no joy. He said, I even planted gardens. I planted vineyards. I planted orchards. I built pools of water. I had some great inventions that I did. He says, I gave myself to music. I gave myself to pleasure. I gave myself to wine. I gave myself to Beyonce. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go there. But I gave myself to everything that I thought would make me happy. I gave myself to folly, and all of it did was make me just miserable. Somebody is going through life right now, and they are completely miserable. They got everything they want in life. They have the house, they have the car, they have the money, they have the prestige, they have the fame, they have the fortune, but yet they are miserable because nothing you do can bring you any joy. Y'all, I would think that that was enough to be said by Solomon about his life, how he felt about life, that his life was meaningless. He felt it was empty. He felt it was frustrating him. He felt like he was now miserable. It gets worse. When you study the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, now he goes from living a life of that is frustrated to living a life that is disgusted. Lord have mercy. I mean, he goes from being frustrated to being disgusted. No matter how good life is, life can become frustrating. Life can become disgusting. Do I have a witness right there? No matter how good your life is, life can become disgusting. If it happened to King Solomon, the wisest man, the king, then certainly it can happen to us. Because when I look at the bio of Solomon, Solomon had it going on. You say he had it going on, Reverend? Yeah, he had it going on. First of all, he had a position from God. Y'all, he had a position. He was the king of Israel. He was the king of God's chosen people. He was in a position, and he was placed there by God himself. No election put him on the throne. Only God put him on the throne. And you say, well, Reverend, if I had a position in life, I wouldn't be disgusted. But wait a minute, we get disgusted and we have a position. What is our position? Our position is, like David said, we are made a little lower than the angel. Yes, sir, we are made a little lower than the angel. We are crowned with glory and honor. We are made in the very image and the likeness of our Father in heaven. We have a position, but yet with the position, we still are disgusted. Solomon not only had position, but Solomon had provisions. I mean, he had provisions. Anything he wanted, he could get. And we too have provision, because the Bible says, and my God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches in glory. Not only did Solomon have position and provision, but Solomon had protection. You look at the army that he had accumulated, that was good, but he had the awesome God on his side. And y'all, we have protection as well. When I go through the fire, the Lord is with me. When I go through the flood, God is with me. The water will not overcome me. When I walk even through the valleys of the shadows of death, I will fear no evil, for the Lord is with me. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life, and whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked and even my enemies came up on me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fail. Why? Because we have protection. Not only did Solomon have the position, not only did he have the provision and the protection, but Solomon also had the promises of God. God told Solomon in the book of Chronicles, he said, if I shut up heaven, if I send no rain, if I send the locusts to devour the land, he said, if I send pestilence all over this place, he said, just remember this, you have some promises. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves, seek my face, pray, turn from their wicked ways, then will they hear from heaven, and I will heal their land. Solomon had the promises of God. You say, if I had such promises, I wouldn't be disgusted in life. Well, let me just beg to differ with you right there, because God has given all of us who are saved a promise. He said, ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and ye shall find, and the door shall be opened unto you. We have the promises of God, but just like Solomon, we tend to be disgusted with life. We're not just upset about life. We're not just bothered about life. We're not just irritated about life. We're not just perturbed with life, but we are enraged. We are bawling. We are aggravated. We are agitated. We are disgusted with life. With all that we have, we still can find ourselves disgusted with life. Am I talking to anybody today who has gotten to the point where life just disgusts you? You used to only be frustrated about life. Now you are disgusted with life. Disgust with life will cause you to hate life. Whenever you are disgusted with life, you will hate life. And y'all, that is a danger zone. Y'all, God does not want us to go through life disgusted with life, but he wants us to go through life enjoying life. And you are in a danger zone whenever you start telling folks that you are disgusted with life. Can I just say this, and you won't get mad at me? Don't ever think for 1 minute that it can't happen to you. If it happened to Solomon, it can certainly happen to any of us. No matter how good life is, life can become disgusting. Can I say that one more time? No matter how good life is, and life sure is good. Every morning you get up, life is good. Every step you take, life is good. Every breath you breathe, life is good. But no matter how good life is, life can become disgusting. I start asking the question, how can life become disgusting? Got to be a reason as to how life can become so disgusting. Well, in chapter 2 of the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon said there are basically 2 reasons why life can become disgusting. See, Solomon is getting older now. Nobody knows how old Solomon is at the time when he writes the book of Ecclesiastes, but he's older than he was when he first took the kingdom. He's older, and as he gets older, he recognizes that he's getting a lot further from the cradle and he's getting closer to the grave. And as he contemplates his death, as he contemplates the days when he is going to be out of time and into eternity, he says, I'm really disgusted about wisdom. You say, wait a minute, this man knows everything and he's disgusted about wisdom. Yeah, he is disgusted with life because he doesn't know if his wisdom that he has will be appreciated by other folks. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Isn't that a disgusting thing? To accumulate all of this wisdom, to accumulate all of this knowledge, to accumulate all of this experiences in life, and yet not know if it's going to be appreciated. Y'all, not knowing can make you disgusted. Boy, when you don't know some things, you are disgusted. Solomon says, I don't know if others will learn any lessons from my experiences. Y'all, that's what disgusts all of us about life. We go through experiences. We make mistakes. We have problems that we have to deal with, and we try to keep other people from making the same mistakes we've made. But seem like when we tell them about our experiences, they act like we have never been there, or we don't know what we're talking about. And we end up going through life saying, is my living in vain? Will anyone ever learn lessons from my experience, or do they have to make the same mistakes that I made? That's what Solomon is basically saying. He says that I've had some experiences in life, and y'all, you don't have to get burned to know that fire is hot. You don't have to fall for the okie doke to know that all that glitters is not gold. He says, I've had some experiences, and wisdom has taught me that everybody will have these same experiences. Everybody who lives will have some rainy days. Everybody who lives will have some storms. Everybody who lives will have some dark days. He says, but wisdom has taught me through my experiences that the sun will shine after a while. And I'm just wondering if anybody will ever learn lessons from my past experience, or will they continue to make those same mistakes over and over again? And because they make the same mistakes over and over again, they never learn. And I said to myself, what good is it to have wisdom and to have experiences and to take those experiences and wisdoms to the grave, because in the grave they don't do you no good. He says that I was bent out of shape. I was disgusted with life because of wisdom. I didn't know if people would really practice what I really preach. Y'all, I preach a lot of things. I preach trust in the Lord with all of thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. I preach that iron sharpeneth iron, which literally means that you are the company you keep. That if you run with dogs, you're going to get up scratching. If you're birds of a feather, they flock together. I preach whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it quickly. I'm not giving you a careless statement. This is not a careless statement. This is a statement where God says that if I give you something to do, you ought to do it three ways. You ought to do it with some speed. That means you ought to not procrastinate. You ought to not hesitate. You ought to go ahead and do it. And then you ought to do it with some strength. Do it with all of your heart. Put everything you got into it. And then also do it with some sense. Solomon said that I wonder if anybody is going to practice what I preach. I told the young man, rejoice, O young man, in the days of thy youth. Walk in the ways of your heart. But remember, for all of this, God will bring you into judgment. I guess what I'm trying to say, whatever you do, Solomon said, is coming up again. He says, I am disgusted because I have wisdom and have been trying to impart that wisdom to others and look like they ain't getting the message. He says, now another thing that makes me disgusted with life is my wealth. You say, wait a minute, Reverend, if I had wealth, I would never be disgusted. But Solomon said, I'm disgusted with my wisdom, and I'm also disgusted with my wealth. And the reason I'm disgusted with my wealth is because I don't know if I'm going to keep it. Did y'all hear what I said? That's why Jesus said, lay not treasure up on this earth, where thieves and moths do break in and steal it. He said, but lay your treasure up in heaven. I'm disgusted about treasure because I don't know if I can keep it. Either I'm going to lose it or it's going to leave me. Y'all didn't hear what I said. I'm disgusted about the fact that I just can't keep it. And then I'm disgusted about another fact. Sometimes I just can't enjoy it. You think that if you get all the money in the world, you will be able to enjoy your wealth. But wealth can buy a whole lot of things, but it can't buy no joy. Wealth can buy medicine, but it can't buy healing. Wealth can buy a house, but it cannot buy a home. Wealth can buy a bed, but it won't guarantee you that you're going to get some sleep. Y'all, wealth is no guarantee for enjoyment. And how many people think if I just get it, if I just win the lottery, I am going to have joy. But if you think you have some wealth and you're going to have some joy behind the wealth, just remember that you're going to have some cousins that show up that you ain't never seen before. And they going to start trying to get your wealth. You can't enjoy wealth. He said, not only can I not enjoy wealth, not only can I not keep wealth, but I can't even protect it. Y'all, it's disgusting to think that I'm going to leave all that I have worked hard for, all that I have saved for, all that I have put aside. It's a shame and disgusting to me for me to think that I am going to leave my wealth to someone who might end up wasting it. Y'all, I see that time and time again that we leave things to people who don't have the same value about the things that we have value about. And they end up wasting everything that God has given them. Well, I got to get out of here because I am completely out of time. Solomon wouldn't leave us with those negative feelings. Solomon gives us an answer. He tells us how we can deal with our this disgusting moments. He says, what you need to do is don't waste your time worrying about tomorrow. Tomorrow takes care of itself. Quit worrying about stuff you ain't got no control over at all. You ain't got no control over tomorrow. You ain't got no control even over right day. He says the second thing you need to do is stop worrying, and then next thing is live one day at a time. That's all you need to do, is learn how to live one day at a time. How do I learn how to live one day at a time? Well, I guess I need to take a cue from Solomon's daddy, and that's Jesus. He reminded us that this is the day the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Every morning you get up, you ought to say, this is the day the Lord has made, and we are going to rejoice and be glad in it. I'm going to go through days. I'm going to go through this life with joy. I'm going to go through this day. I'm going to go through my whole life with joy, knowing that whatever God has given me, I can use it for his glory. When you use what God has given you for his glory, you know what? You'll end up enjoying the whole day. You'll enjoy the whole life. Let me encourage you again to share this broadcast with others, to press like if this broadcast has done you any good. And I sure would like to see you on Sundays at 10:45 a.m. at the Jordan Grove Missionary Baptist Church, 2603 Anita, in the heart of 3rd Ward, Texas. I can't wait to see you Sunday morning. May the Lord bless you real good, and may you have a wonderful day.